like groups.
And like if I want, and I get on there, like I don't tweet anything, I just go on there to see.
Like, just to keep up with stuff.
Yeah, basically.
Alright.
Wait, are you starting?
Yeah, Tom got shot. It wasn't funny then, it's funny now. And here again, I wrote this on the High Circle Corner too. But I'll tell you what happened. It's when it was, oh man, it was a Friday. It seems like. And I was off work that day. And this one I lived by myself. Hey, you hear me? This one I lived by myself. This before I got married to Beth or anything. I was single, lived by myself. I loved it. Cool. And all my buddies would come and hang out at my house. Over there at Hidden Lakes. And Tom and I went to Mr. Bobby's property over at Hyde County to fish. And he's got a place over by the Chattahoochee. He got 3 ponds on it. 2 of them are dummy ponds for hunting, but the other one, the oxbows, for fishing. And this was like in the year 2000. So it's been 14 years ago. And we took our sidearms, our pistols, with us, just to have for, you know, if we saw a snake or whatever. But really, we just took it out there to shoot some. And we saw a crane. You ever seen a big old crane? Man, they're huge. And we tried to shoot it, but it was too far away. We couldn't shoot it. Anyway, we fished, and then we left Hyde County and came back to my house Friday night. And we had no plans that night. We were going to stay in and play poker and, you know, drink or whatever. And so when we got in, Tom started cleaning our pistols because we had shot them several times that week at the shooting range and everything. And Tom said, I'm going to clean them. He had a P90 Ruger. I had a P97. It was just a little newer model. They were both 45. Shot the ACP bullet. And Tom, then those guns, you have to pack them and take them apart. They come apart easily, and you just clean them. So Tom was cleaning his gun, and I hadn't even started drinking yet, man. I had ate, and I was in the living room watching TV, and I was playing solitaire, you know, the old-fashioned way with cards. I had them on my dining room table. I was just playing cards, and I seen Tom opened up a beer, and he was over there drinking or whatever, and he was cleaning the guns. Boom, boom, boom. And he done his, and I seen him grab mine. And, you know, so when he grabbed mine, I seen him over there struggling. Like, he kept struggling with it. And I didn't ever think to look or whatever. I just seen him, I just thought, it, you know, it was just kind of hard coming off. And all of a sudden, dude, it was the loudest noise I ever heard in my life. The gun went off. And I think I froze for a minute, man. You know, and then, because it just pierced my eardrums, dude. I couldn't hear nothing. And I was kind of scared to turn around to this side to see Tom. To look, I was afraid, you know, I didn't know what I was going to see. If he was dead or what. What had happened was, and Tom and I were raised around firearms, man. We had training. We knew better. Accidents happen. And that's why you have to be so very careful with guns. Okay, I never had my guns loaded. I didn't have that gun loaded, but I left the clip in there with the bullets. Tom didn't think to take the clip out. He chambered around. And when he did, he was trying to push it like this, and the barrel was right here. And it shot, it went in here, and it came out. This, if you feel this fatty part of your hand, it came out this side. And I didn't know that. When I looked over, he was just kind of hunched over, and I thought, oh shit, did he shoot himself in the stomach? You know, what happened? And I jumped up, and I said, are you okay? And he said, I'm shot. That's all he said. So I took off in the bathroom to get towels, because I didn't know what to expect. Man, I had a house line back then, and I was like, screw it. you know, I'm right here by the hospital. I didn't live 5 minutes up the road. I said, I'm going to take you. And I still only seen like a few drops of blood. So I was like, what? And he said, my hand. So I wrapped, I didn't even think I was going to see a hand there. I mean, he shot himself with a 45, dude. And his hand was still there, and he was just shaking real bad. So I wrapped it with towels, and I said, come on. And his truck was parked behind mine in the carport. And I said, where are your keys? And he said, they're in my pocket. So I reached in his pocket, grabbed his keys. I said, come on. And I always remember, they say, keep talking to a victim, don't let them go in the shop. So I kept talking to him and told him it was going to be okay. And dude, you know, I don't drive fast, but I floored it, man. And I kept talking to him. I had like one hand on the steering wheel, and I was kind of like, you know, rubbing his back, telling him it's going to be okay. He just kept saying, it stings. So we pulled, it was the old Noonan Hospital. And we pulled right up to there, and we got out. And luckily there was a nurse walking out, and I just screamed. I said, I got a gunshot victim. He shot his hand. And they got him on, took him straight up. So I waited, you know, for a while, and so he was already back in the emergency room. And I was like, then I started just thinking of different things. I was like, man, what had he been drinking, you know? And Tom was underage, and I didn't know if he would get in trouble or if I'd get in trouble because of the alcohol and guns. I didn't know, so I just rushed back to the house. And Tom had opened the beer, but he never even drank it. So I was like, okay, we got. So I poured that beer out and just threw it away. And when I got back up there, anytime there's a stab wound or a gunshot wound, the police have to get involved for an investigation. And Officer Stroger was up there. And he started talking to me, asked me what had happened. So I walked him through the whole thing. And he's like, I can't even believe it. He said, I can't believe it. He shot himself with a 45? And I was like, yes, sir. And, you know, he had, you know, because they have to investigate that stuff just to make sure it wasn't a crime committed or whatever. But the doctor finally came out, and I was standing in the room, and Tom's hand was, like, leaned over in this big bucket, because they couldn't sew it up. They had to let it, drain because they was afraid of infection. And so they had Tom hyped up on, you know, drugged up on morphine. So I was facing the doctor, and Tom was like where you were. So the doctor had his back to Tom, and he was telling me what was going on. Tom had his hand in his bucket and was flipping me off, trying to make me laugh at the same time at the doctor. And I'm thinking, oh God, I wanted to laugh. And then, so Tom's mom was out of town, so I had to call his dad, and I told him what had happened. And then I called my dad, and, you know, I called Daddy, and I said, look, Daddy, I said, we had an accident. Daddy's like, what the hell are you boys doing over there? Y'all trying to kill yourself? And I said, it was an accident, you know, it was bad. But anyway, Tom shot himself with my gun, and it made us think twice. I mean, you know, it was so scary. It was probably the scariest thing I ever seen. And we laugh about it now and joke about it, but it wasn't funny at the time. And even about a week later, Tom and I was over there, and we started talking about, like, what ifs. What if Tom would have shot himself and he would have died? You know, I wouldn't have been able to live with myself. Or what if Tom would have shot me and killed me? He wouldn't have been able to live with himself. But, you know, guns are very, very dangerous, and you gotta treat them cautious. You know, with caution. But that's the story of Tom shooting himself.